Hello everyone, I'm Antom64.
I'm the Flameclaw.
And I'm Richie.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Shadow Generations. It's the mark of, I would say, a really good piece of media when, after you beat it, or, you finish watching it, you want to experience it all over again, and this was the case for me in Shadow Generations. These two have also completed it. We're going to start with a Shadow story here, just for, the two of you out there who aren't familiar with his story.
Well, Shadow, out of the entire Sonic cast, is the character who, by far, has the most backstory. So I do genuinely appreciate that they did include this for the new players, even if, obviously, us lot, we know what Shadow's about. He's the cool one, he's the edgy one. Mm-hmm. And he's got a bit of childhood trauma to go with it.
Childhood? He is 50 years old, my friend.
He wasn't here.
That's fair. Time is relative, I guess. They also put out a anime prequel, which is 3 7-minute videos. It's called Dark Beginnings. We're not going to be playing that here. You can go and watch it. It's pretty good. Animation is nice. But all you really need to know is Shadow sensed something aboard the Ark, and he stole a rocket, and he went to the Ark.
And it had some really cool fight scenes. That's the other important part. I really like the animation in that. I watched it for the first time last night, yeah.
It really is actually fantastic, and to be honest, they have been putting out some truly excellent animated Sonic stuff over the past few years, connected to each game that's been released, and it's been wonderful.
If this is going to be a new tradition for 3D Sonic games, or even 2D ones like with Sonic Superstars, I'm more than okay with it.
Me too.
Alien conqueror Black Doom. Shadow didn't understand.
Hey, Shadow.
I'm back. I have a creepy little eye to follow you around. Hope I don't get too annoying.
Yeah, this is Shadow's own game. Funnily enough, titled Shadow the Hedgehog.
Which I've seen some people retroactively referring to as Shadow 2005 now, which I suppose makes sense now. I hope this is kind of gonna lead into Shadow being its own series, but I also realise that that's my Shadow the Hedgehog fanboyism going on there.
For sure. Alright, let's get started. A new game. That's my finished one right there. So let's go. It's time for Shadow Generations.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Thank God they have finally decided how they want to render humans in the Sonic universe, because we had semi-realistic ones in Sonic Adventure, for what it's worth. It did release on the Dreamcast, after all. Then we had, sort of anime, sort of not, with Shadow 05. Then we had, Pixar in Unleashed, and now they seem to have kind of, found a balance. You'll notice I'm leaving 06 out because I don't want to relive the Sim-esque nightmares.
Hey, Elise looked fine. Get over it.
Well,
The problem wasn't Elise in that game, it was everybody else.
Hey, that one royal guard lady with the bland face. It wasn't the animation style, she's just ugly, okay?
Are you still aboard the Ark?
I'm purposely avoiding Sonic's birthday party. Don't listen to what I said about trying to find a strange biosignature.
I mean, why would I want to go to Sonic's birthday party? He's not my friend or anything, God.
Ah, Babaka-hog.
Signature aboard the Ark. I'm not leaving until I eliminate any possible threat.
They've also really improved the CGI, or just regular cutscenes, I would say. Frontier started it, and as you can see, we have improvements here. That doesn't just apply to the visuals, the gameplay is also a step up from Frontiers.
Oh, without a doubt.
To be fair, this game is also much more linear than Frontiers, so I understand that it is easier to direct something like this in a way that kind of obscures the rough edges than an open world thing like Frontiers. But also, look at this is beautiful.
I have to say, sort of up front, this is what I want Sonic games to be moving forwards. This is what I want.
It's very much a kind of happy medium between the standard boost gameplay that we know from Generations, that we've kind of seen repurposed quite a bit since then as well, with a little bit more focus on platforming as well as like other abilities beyond just the boost, and I feel like it lands really well.
I think the other thing that really does help with this as well is that the levels, even though I think some of them perhaps do last a little bit too long at times, there's so many different options of routes to go, and they really feel like they are like filled to the brim with stuff to inhabit, and they really do benefit from replaying again and again and again, whereas the stuff that you had in Frontiers didn't always match that.
Well, I think that like base Sonic Generations existed basically as like the happy medium between Colours and Unleashed.
Yes.
And that worked for Sonic. The problem that we had with other boost games since then is that, like, you look at, like, Falsies obviously just oversimplified everything, and Frontiers, it just wasn't really intended as a boost game. That was just kind of like a extra side thing for it, cyberspace, really. So, like, they kind of had to make the controls work in a way that was not too dissimilar to the main game to kind of not throw people off too much.
Yeah.
Whereas this is kind of like the perfect opportunity for them to basically perfect the boost style of gameplay, and it just works really well. And we also get some of the spectacle moments that was admittedly one of Falsy's strong points, with like the mid-level moments like that.
Man.
So like, yeah, it's basically everything I could have asked for.
Oh, bless you, Flame.
Maybe not the lasers to the face, but you know.
Your man Antom is on the job.
Now, if there's one thing that we really like doing in Shadow games, it's beating Artificial Chaos, so we can be glad that they're back as well.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus, no.
That, what you just did there is cool, because that, I don't know whether they were intentionally going for that, but Shadow being able to snap past things rather than doing standard homing attacks, that's actually how his homing attack like equivalent worked in 06. And there are parts of his very hard mode DLC where you had to do that. So I think it's a cool little nod that just to kind of make Shadow distinct from Sonic, they've kind of replaced the mechanic in a way that works differently like that.
Oh, here we go.
He's back and he's ready to annoy us, and he's going to be doing this a lot.
Oh, Shadow, I want to show you my favourite level.
I will admit, it took me longer than I would like to admit to realise exactly what was going on with these segments. There was part of me going, oh look, that's Radical Highway, with absolutely sort of no link to anything else. I was just like, oh, that's fun. It wasn't until, yeah, a good few levels in, we're just like, oh, okay, there's a point here.
Yes, there is. You can probably piece it together yourself, but just for the sake of not spoiling this game, which is like a month old at this point, we will let you guys put the pieces together.
Personally, I think it's just nice to have Radical Highway sections in a Sonic Generations game that isn't just holding right to win.
Oh my god.
For the most part, I do quite like the 3DS version of Generations, but god, Radical Highway in that game is just a bit shit.
Someone saw Multiverse of Madness and was like, you know what, that needs to be in a Sonic game.
Someone's realised that most people now are going to be playing this on SSDs, so they can get away with doing these really cool transitions mid-stage, and they can show it off.
I believe the promise time was a thing in Shadow 05, wasn't it?
Black Doom made a few comments, like vaguely referring to the promise time. It wasn't really elaborated on from what I recall, but they're gonna make a few nods here and there, and that's just one of them, really.
Cryptic metaphor, bye!
Oh shit, I hate you when that happens.
Oh, I hear the Ring of Freedom. Sub 5 minutes, baby.
Well done.
technically only just sub 5 minutes, yeah.
And this, folks, is just a taste of what's to come in Shadow Generations.
Richie, you were saying earlier you're not keen on them going on quite so long. I personally really like that. These are like unleashed levels, but pretty much in terms of the length. And that, to me, that's something I've been missing. That makes it that much more satisfying when you finally get that perfect rundown.
Oh, yeah.
The doctor's plan.
You didn't take any hits. Oh, yes. We get a little nod. Well, not even just a little nod. We get a straight-up reference to the dumbest plot point in SA2.
How'd you know it was a fake emerald? Because you told me, fucked boy. And then apparently you left it behind for like 10 years.
And also, yay, still one of the worst final bosses in Sonic history. Hey!
Don't worry, that it's still here, lovingly unchanged.
Yes, yeah, when I was playing I was just like, oh god, I remember how much I hated this. Oh well. Yeah, no, Flame, what I was sort of mostly getting at is the levels that are about 5 minutes long, perfect length, love it. It's like just long enough for it to sort of feel like it's settled in and there's enough to do and there's meat on the bones. But there are some that are just that little bit longer where they do start to drag a little bit, and it's finding that balance, and it is really hard. But yeah, these are some of the best 3D Sonic levels that they have ever made, to be fair.
Alright, we've got a biblically accurate angel here. Nothing to worry about.
It's fine, you're only like the 10th person to make that joke.
Look alright. We've been going for 16 bloody years.
Also, to be fair, if I hadn't been sick when this game first came out, you could have been like the 3rd or 4th.
Balling. That's an improvement for HFC. Oh, I see you, Shadow, with my big eye. Shadow, you are here too. I was hunting Dr. Eggman's latest super weapon when it unleashed a temporal anomaly. But that's not all he has to say. Chronometer error. We are in a space without time. I will assist you in returning things to normal.
By doing absolutely nothing.
Because I will stand here.
Hurry, I must resume my hunt and destroy Dr. Eggman.
I'm starting to think that was his actual main purpose for being here.
Now we've got a little hub we can run about in. The stuff you collect in the levels, collection keys help you unlock chests in the overworld. Hell yeah.
It's a really cool method, and I did really enjoy it. Although, yeah, trying to get all of the collectible items, certainly your first go around is going to be a challenge.
Oh yeah, for sure, because you're not going to know when it's like coming up and whatnot.
No, so you will be playing through these levels multiple times. Thankfully, when we get to the challenge missions, you're more likely to get them quickly, because obviously those levels are a hell of a lot shorter, and therefore all the things that are hidden are a bit easier to find at a short notice.
What I do appreciate is, I will say that I have never been like a collectathon kind of person. I'm in no rush to like go and collect everything here. But I do appreciate when you get the concept art unlocks, quite a lot of them are pictures that I haven't seen before, which makes it that much more worth it, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, because like a lot of the time when you get concept art galleries in a game as like an unlock thing, a lot of the time you've seen it over and over again. Chances are they've used it in the fucking instruction manuals and shit anyway. Aww. But like, no, I do just want to draw attention to the fact that the one you unlocked a moment ago was the artwork from Sonic X.
Yep.
Because Sonic X itself is in this kind of like weird licensing limbo right now, when you go into the collection room and you see it listed there, it doesn't say Sonic X by name. I think it's like Animation Shadow or Shadow Animated Form or something like that. So like you just kind of have to piece it together yourself. You look what Animation Shadow's been in and like, yeah.
Yeah, that's him. That's Animation Shadow, alright.
Although, to be fair, this is a second release that starts with the title Sonic X, so technically this is a sequel, right?
I guess.
Look, okay, there's other ways to interpret the title Sonic X Shadow. Which one would you rather go with?
You win this round, Flame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got the spinny things.
And true to form, there are moments when you're trying to jump off of these where you will go the complete wrong direction and it'll be really fiddly, as demonstrated there.
Yeah, this one is specifically awful to try and achieve.
I like it when they're faithful to the original games.
No, I want the collector doodad, thank you. Now we can move forward.
Finally.
I will say, like, I prefer the 3D levels over the 2D ones any day of the week, because I just prefer the level of freedom that comes with 3D in a platformer. But it's pretty great how they managed to make even these 2D levels fun to play.
Oh yeah.
They're a definite improvement over a lot of the other like modern Sonic 2D sections, because these ones feel like they've been designed from the ground up as like intended to be 2D levels, whereas the problem with like the ones in say Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces and that is that you can kind of tell that they were there more for function than actual gameplay. Because that was the era where they were working with much slower hard drives. They needed moments to kind of slow Sonic down so the game could load in the next section. Whereas here, this doesn't have those same technical constraints. These are, like, from the ground up, we want to have Shadow running through this 2D area, and we can actually dedicate time in the level to do that, rather than it just be like one random 2D section that slows down your momentum.
Oh, I'm freaking out!
Let's fucking go!
Listen to My Chemical Romance once.
This is fucking peak character design right here.
Okay, hold R2 in the air to glide. The boost gauge will be depleted while gliding. Very cool. So you get a little bit of an alternate path here.
The Doom Wing as we see it here. We're not going to see much of it just yet, but just them letting you play with this so early on, it's like... Shadow's so fucking cool!
It's okay, Flame, you're allowed to gush, to geek out.
If you've been watching the channel for a long time, you'll know that Shadow the Hedgehog is my favourite fictional character, and this game understands exactly why I like him. He's got a cool aesthetic, he's got a cool vibe, and he's got a cool personality, and they knock all of those out of the park here.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, pretty good. And I think what I would probably say is just sort of extending on what you've said, Flame, because even me as someone who appreciates Shadow as a character, but is not necessarily going, oh my god, he's the best, I love him. I think that this game does a hell of a lot for actually moving Shadow's character so much further than he kind of really ever has before in delving into some of that more sort of emotion and character, and actually dealing with the idea of trauma and overcoming your past. And perhaps actually giving him more character development than any Sonic character has had ever.
Especially, like, in his own game. You'd think they'd be retreading old territory here, and there's, like, glimpses of that here and there. But they managed to keep it fresh, which is no small feat for a character whose backstory, at least on paper, is just childhood friend died Miyangi.
And also, sort of additionally to that, in a game which, for all intents and purposes, is a cash grab on by sort of like obviously remaking Sonic Generations and just sort of going, yeah, let's just throw some more rehash levels in there. But actually, it feels so much more than that, and it's awesome.
When this was first revealed and we saw that it was Sonic X Shadow Generations and they did the trailer where it's just like Sonic's cutscene and Shadow jumps in, the impression I got from that would be that this would be like maybe 2 or 3 extra levels slapped on the end.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of, if you're remastering Sonic Generations, going off the precedent we've had of other Sonic re-releases being fairly simple deals, that's what I was expecting. But no, like, this is the main meat of this release. The Sonic port is a little bit jank. I don't want to go off on that too much because that's not the game we're playing, but like, it's very obvious that Shadow got all the love and attention in this release here.
Aerial anomaly detected. Preliminary Black Ops research indicates it is called Black Moon.
Nice.
No immediate threat detected. Remain on high alert and proceed with the mission.
Unable to process.
Chronometer function still offline. Destabilization of space-time continues. Source of destruction appears to be unidentified life form. Sonic is present and counteracting the effect. Explanation: data not found.
Observation.
The gear-shaped object you collected is resonating with a specific frequency. I detect a matching frequency in that conspicuous pillar standing out in the void. Analysis: applying the gear to the construct may yield results.
Observation.
These characters, they have different dialogue throughout the game. I was one of those people who kind of like talked to them once and then never again. So take a little bit of time, going through the game. It will probably take you about 2 to 5 hours, depending on how fast or slow you go. But I would recommend just going back to see the characters after you beat a level or whatever.
It is nice to have that little bit of just general world building from the other characters. It's a lot of them, from what I've seen, are just minor things, but the fact that a lot of these characters, it's been a while since we've seen them interacting with Shadow directly, is something that I've kind of missed,
Yeah, for sure. Oh no, flashbacks to Kinder Egg. Surprise! He can already fire one of these, but these are more. They're Doom Spears, not Chaos Spears, Doom Spears.
Yes, these are the ones you can charge up and fire off at multiple targets.
Shoot multiple Chaos Spears by holding triangle. This skill can hit up to 5 targets. Booyah, baby. And on we go.